Good afternoon, everybody. I know I've been away for a long time. I got clay on my face. But I've decided that I need to start throwing online again. So today I'm working on a new shape, which is an undecorated cooking pot designed differently than most that I've done in the past. It's from Anglo Saxon York. And if I can turn the camera around, this is the shape. It's 8 inches across, 8 inches high. And if you notice, it has little lug handles. And according to the references, those lug handles have a cord that goes around them, and then the pot is suspended over the fire. And so I've taken this from a book and done the adjustments for getting the size correct. And so here we are. We're going to go try number 2. That's number 1. It has a couple things that are a little bit less than optimal, not noticeable to anybody else, but I didn't have quite enough clay. So now this one I'm going to do with 10 pounds of clay. Excellent. So why don't I switch over to this camera. Make sure that this is actually, no, wrong camera. There we go. Because this is where the action will take place. And I can't see, but I'll answer some questions if you have any later on. 10-pound lump of clay. I've wedged it up so that it should be a little bit easier to work with. Ouch, damn it. Splattered my glasses with clay muck. Hope everybody's having a happy day. My day was a little bit taken aback. A very good friend from the SCA passed away this week. And she was a bard, not a potter, but she would always stop by my booth and we would talk about the science of pottery. Wasn't her topic at all, but an inquisitive mind, a life well lived, and a person who will be desperately missed. So, what I'm working on is trying to get this 10 pounds of clay centered on the wheel. It actually takes a fair amount of energy, because 10 pounds of fairly stiff clay is a lot to move around. And everything about a pot realistically is defined at this stage. If the clay isn't centered, the pot cannot really come out in the optimal form. Normally, I would have this wall be very straight, but because this pot has a very narrow foot, I'm bringing that into a bit to begin with to make it a bit easier to work with. Next, I'm dropping the well. That's putting the hole in the center of the clay. Second most important thing to do while working with a pot. This well has to go down in the exact center. And I just checked the depth of the bottom. It's a little bit too thick. This pot has a fairly thick bottom, about 3/4 of an inch. And right there looks pretty good to me. I'm also working on throwing a little wetter. I think I've been throwing a bit dry lately, which should help being able to move the clay a little bit better. So the first pull, just get some of that clay moving up. When I first took classes, the statement was it's ideal to do 3 pulls. But in working with this much clay, pot can't be finished in 3 pulls. I'm letting the water in the clay, in the sponge, help me out in this movement. And it's not nearly as, trying to reproduce a pot does not have the same creativity as doing just a pot from scratch. Because there's all sorts of measurements to verify. So we're looking for a pot that is 8 inches tall. So we got a good 2 inches to move this up. So how's everyone doing? Holidays treating you all well? And unfortunately, I can't see the screen to see what people's answers are. I thought Christmas here was beautiful. The snow was just wondrous. Pain in the ass to drive in. Okay, that moved it up to about 7 inches. We have another inch of height to gain. And I'm pushing in on the bottom to get some of that clay to move up, because that foot is only about 3 3/4 inches across. So I need to use that clay in other parts of the pot. Trying to keep the wall very consistent all the way up. Getting up here to the rim, making sure that's nice and smooth. This is a taller pot than I am used to making, which I'm kind of looking forward to. And if you notice right there, is at 8 inches. So next we have to think about getting this thing to be 8 inches across, which is really close at this point. Maybe I didn't forget how to do all of this. So now I'm putting in the galley. This is not necessarily accurate and appropriate for this pot, but I don't have a picture of the gallery because I really do want to put a lid on this. And I want that lid to be seated nicely so that when it's cooking, that lid won't just rattle around. I'm using a rib on the inside to start shaping both the bottom and that sidewall, because that sidewall needs to come out a ways, because the sidewall is just a little bit further out than the rim. Let's clean this up just a little bit again. Maybe time away hasn't been too bad on me. Let's do some measurements. Oops. Diameter that we want. Diameter at the top that we want. 7.5 inch lid. 7.5 inch lid. This is going okay. And this is going to be a fairly short session. I'm just going to do one more of these. I'm also working on getting that inside curve of the bottom so that a spoon can go right across without catching on anything. My January is going to be all about creative new projects. It's not going to be about production. It's going to be about doing new and different things to add them to the repertoire. And if you all noticed, I received some new stamps, and there will be some videos using those coming up in the near future. All right, I need to bring this base in just a touch. Now I messed up the inside. I gotta say, this is an okay pot. And I do look forward to trying this cooking idea with the cords in lugs to suspend the pot over the coals. You know, there's always new things to learn and try out. Put in the pre-foot on this, because I will tomorrow trim in a little bit more of a foot. Oh, don't want to leave any moist water in the bottom. That'll make it take longer to dry for the next step. I find the thickness of the bottom to be really quite interesting on this. Where did I leave the paint scraper? I have no idea. Every tool can look like a hammer if you have to pound in a nail. So there we go. Looking okay. And I'm happier. The first one I used 8 pounds of clay, but I'm happier with the 10 pounds of clay for this size. I thought it was supposed to be 10 pounds when I first did the measurements. And then that looked like an awful lot. So I cut it down to 8. It's okay to start off, you know, a little bit small. So these are called bats. Bats go on so you don't change the shape of pieces, bigger pieces, plates especially. And bats go on bat pins. And if the holes are filled with clay, they just don't fit that well. Clean off the tops. Clean off some excess water. We'll do one more of these. Arch. And then I move on to some other shapes that I need to try without being live. Again, centering takes a lot of strength at this amount of clay. And then you'll say, what? There's people that do a lot more clay than this. Yes, and that takes even more strength. Part of it is body mechanics too. I have a much better angle than the smaller person does at centering this quantity of clay. Trying to save as much of this slip as I could possibly save, because that's better to work with than water is. There we go. Centering, now dropping the well. Have to drop that well in the very center so the pot can be balanced. And that ends up taking a bit more force. That's a little bit much for the base. Not a lot too much, but a bit too much. And I bring it out a little ways. Wish I had multiple cameras, because it'd be good to have a directly straight down view as well. So now I'm going to do that first pull, which is really the pull that proportionally gets the most change in the clay. Bring in that bottom a ways. Try to get it to 8 inches tall and close to 8 inches wide on this pull. When I'm doing my standard cooking pots, I can get one of those done in 3 pulls. But I have the muscle memory for how to accomplish it. With a new need to get another 3/4 of an inch. A new style, a new shape. That knowledge isn't there yet. Again, trying to keep that wall thickness as consistent as possible. Put in the lip, or the gallery, I should say, into the lip. You know, the references leave out things that I would really like to know. They never publish weight. And they don't give pictures from all the dimensions, from top, bottom, side, you know, that sort of thing. Okay. There we are, 8 inches tall. $7.5-inch lid. Well, maybe I am learning how to do this shape. And now, curve out the inside. The goal is to not lose as very much height in this process. So yeah, for people that have just added, January is going to be all about new things, perfecting new ideas, researching new shapes, looking at decorating. Boy, that's going to be a challenge. But you know, it's good to be pushed. If we're not pushing ourselves, we're moving backwards. Using the sponge on the inside as well. That's an okay looking pot. Make sure we're still, we lost a little bit. Lost about 1/8 of an inch. Let's see if we can bring that back. Because when you're pushing the clay out, it takes it away from height. So now I'm pushing in a little bit, so I'm losing a little bit of thickness. We'll go back in with the rib to make sure that inside is nice and smooth. Clean out the bottom again a little bit. There we are. Right. Verify our height again. There we're at 8. A little bit wide. This one's going to need a 7 3/4 lid. Yeah, that's all right. I will, because these are going to be soda fired, and the lids will be then unique to the pot. So I'm going to have to document that I need 2 7.5 lids and 1 7 3/4 lid. Cut it loose. Hey, hope everything is going well. Let's see, any questions? Glad to see so many people. It's just wonderful. It actually is looking okay. Oh, and Tammy's looking at that suspended type pot. That's fantastic. Thanks. I'm glad to be in the studio. And Sandy, yeah. It's tough to get used to it. See, and look at that. Clay all over my glasses. All right, my friends, enjoy the afternoon. I'm looking forward to talking to you again soon. Take care.